is everybody talking about?
We're talking about beating Burns.
Who plays Burns? Oh, sorry. Sorry. That's it's not going to happen. You're playing a junior college.
Well, we play Red next week.
Okay, you'll win next week.
That's right. MTL.
Okay, you say we were on page 12? 20. Okay, ratio, nominal, yeah, there we go. And 1.3 is the next section, or 1.4, whatever. Collecting data, sample, observational. All right, 2 test questions. Possible test questions. Observational study and an experiment. An observational study would be basically you have no input or direction in the study. For instance, if you work for DOT sometimes, what's DOT? Good for you. Your parents did well. Department of Transportation, DOT. They'll set you up on the side of the road, and they'll tell you to put a line across the road. It's called an air line. And every time you run over that air line, it trips a counter. Okay? And you count how many cars go over a certain road. Usually when you have an accident at an intersection and everybody complains that there needs to be a red light there, usually you'll see later on the DOT put up an air line across the road. And it looks like the old gas station. It's about a half-inch rubber hose, black, and it's stapled on both sides, and cars run over it. And it counts cars. Is that an observational study or an experiment? It's observational. You sit there and you look at that counter and make sure that it works, and you make sure that the hose doesn't get messed up, and you do nothing. You don't run out there and stop cars or anything to discourage that study. So that is an observational study. What about a rat in a maze? Or a mouse in a maze? Observational. Unless you do what? Put cheese in it. Now if you put cheese in it, or put cheese here and there and there, you are turning it into a what? An experiment. An experiment is when you have input to the study. Alright? Observational would be observing. Experiment would be input. And that's pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to understand, you just have to know the difference between the two. The test will ask you a question, it'll give you a scenario, and it'll say, is this an observational or an experiment? Just remember, if you as an observer do not input or put anything in or out of the experiment, it's observational. If you put something into it, then it's called an experiment. Okay? How about sleep apnea patients? You ever seen one of those videos where they watch you sleep? I don't want to watch myself sleep, because it's not pretty when you watch somebody. Have you ever seen one on YouTube?
No, that's
No, not right now. It's too early in the class. We'll get off and chase rabbits in a minute. But watch one. You flip and you turn about 5,000 times. And is that observational or is that experiment? It's observational. What if I give the patient a sleeping pill? Then it's an experiment. Easy as that. That's all you got to remember. Okay? So that's pretty self-explanatory. Or you could just remember, we observe and measure specific characteristics, but we don't attempt to modify the subjects being studied. Or you could remember that. We apply some treatment and then proceed to observe its effects on the subjects. So you do what you want. It's easier to remember, basically, you observe, you leave alone, or you don't leave alone. Okay? Everybody feel good about that? Oh, did you see my picture I posted? Well, some of you didn't, because you don't. I'll show you my picture I posted yesterday. Went to a, went to a website. What?
There was a teacher that, one of my teachers that,
Who? Dickie?
Miss Smith.
Miss Smith? What Miss Smith?
Oh no, go back. Go back. Yeah, it's Terry Smith.
Where?
I don't know, she was there a second ago.
Terry Smith.
Oh, you know her?
Mm-hmm.
They're Facebook friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's official.
Okay, where was I going? Oh, my page. Yeah. Okay, girls, this is an indicator. There it is right there. Went to a Mexican restaurant yesterday,
Hey, you were creeping on
and this guy, yeah, I do this. When I see a dumbass, I'm gonna take a picture of it. All right? That guy sat the whole time, an hour. We sat there an hour because we were talking. He sat there an hour and ate his food with the Terminator sunglasses on. Girls, when you see this, run. Run away as fast as you can.
Was he with a girl?
No, he was with another guy. The other guy had sunglasses on too. What? Don't tell me they potheads, because potheads should be shot in the head. I ain't got no use for potheads, okay? Period. Alright? That guy has issues, okay? He's got hair, not much, because it's receding. So that might be it. Couldn't tell whether he was tall or short. So that leaves one other thing, and we won't talk about that. Okay. Huh?
He has an earring.
No. That guy had to be at least 25 years old.
What's the last part of your name? E.T. Ali?
Yeah. Masalama. You have to look it up. All right. So that's my stupid picture of the day yesterday. I'll see if I can find another one today. If I find smokestacks or TVs in a Honda Accord, 1978 Honda Accord, or $10,000 rims on a $1,000 car, I'll take a picture of it and show you. So those are indicators, girls. If you ever see it, run. Run as fast as you can.
What's your profile picture?
Me? The thinker.
Whoa.
Somebody took a picture of me thinking. No, actually, you ever been to Get Connected?
Look at all these comments, dude. You are popular.
You know the Get Connected. You know Get Connected that you go to? Well, that was at a Get Connected, and they said, "Okay, let's take a picture," and they were taking everybody's picture, and I was like, "Okay." So that's me. Anyway. I didn't do it for that. I did it for the picture of the goofball.
Hey, Pam Tolly.
The goofball is what I took a picture of. No. There's the goofball right there. That's the picture right there. All right. Now, let's get back to what we were doing.
I'm trying to see who Pam is.
I don't know who Pam is. She's probably a crackhead or something. All right, so. Simple random sample. I don't care about a simple random sample, but I do care about a random sample. All right? So, what is a random sample? A random sample is very important, so I want you to write it down. A random sample, everyone or everything has the same chance of being picked. Write that down. Everyone or everything has the same chance of being picked. Let me give you an example. If I take every one of your names or T numbers, and I put them on a sheet of paper, and I snip them all, where they're one single T number on a piece. And I put them in a fishbowl, and I shake up the fishbowl, and I ask 2 or 3 people to shake it up with their hands, and then I ask one person to pick a number, and one number gets picked. Is that a random sample? Yes. If I take a dart and I put a balloon up here for each one of you and put your name in the balloon and blow them up and put them up here like at the fair, and I tell one person to throw a dart at these balloons and it hits one, is that a random sample? Yes. Because everybody's name is what? Everybody's name is up here. Now, where the dark goes, yes, there is a little bit of bias because the person will usually aim toward the what? The center, okay? And some people could argue that it would not be a random sample because people tend to aim toward the center. Well, what if I take all of them and put them in the center? Then yes, it's more of a random sample. But everybody's name is up here. If I leave one name out, it is not a random sample. If I leave one name out, okay? Now, I don't go over a simple random sample because simple random samples can be a little bit confusing, okay? Simple random sample is the same thing as an individual, except it's a group. Let me give you an example of a simple random sample. How many people are in here? 20. Yeah, let's say 30. All right. I divide y'all into 10 groups. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. Okay? And I call this group Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5, Group 6, Group 7, Group 8. So there's 25 people. Okay? And I put each of those group numbers, Group 1, Group 2, in a hat, and I shake the hat up and I pick one group. That is a simple random sample. What's the difference? Groups, non-groups. Individual groups. That's the difference. So write that down. Usually when you see simple random sample, you're going to be talking about a cluster or a group. I have found out that it's easier to explain random sample first and then explain simple random sample. So when you divide up into groups in your science lab, and then the science teacher says, well, I'm going to pick one group to not work today, then that is a simple random sample because he or she is picking one out of several groups, and they all have an equal chance. So the main thing I want you to know here is that a simple random sample, no yawning, or a random sample has equal chance of being what? Hit. That's what you need to know. One has to do with a group, the other has to do with individuals. Now, you could do the definition. A simple random sample of n subjects is selected in such a way that every possible sample of the same size n has the same chance of being chosen. You can try that if you want to. You know, one of the reasons that people don't understand math is they don't understand the definitions that they give you in the book. There is a simple random sample right here. A random sample. Me going through the phone book, putting all the pages up and throwing a dart at them. Okay, now that's impossible because you cover up all the walls and the ceiling and the floor with all the pages in the phone book with A through Z. So it'd be hard to throw a dart that way. So you can't say that's a simple random, or a random. But what if you go through page A through B and just pick one? Then yes, that's a random sample, A through B. Random sample. Systematic. Systematic is another word for methodical. Each of these I'm going over is a test question, so make sure, and we've covered this. Okay? Systematic. If I pick, when y'all leave, each of you form a line, and y'all walk out in line. I pick every third person to stay for a 5-point bonus question. Every fifth person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you stay. All right, that's systematic random sample. There's a method or a order or a system to what I'm doing. Convenient sample. This is the easiest to get, but it's the most what? Unreliable, if that's what you said. Okay? It is the easiest, but it's the most unreliable. It'd be like me going over to the Marlboro Club and saying, how many of y'all are in the Marlboro Club? Okay? If I walk over to the Marlboro Club, which we don't have any Marlboro Club on campus now because it's, thank God, tobacco free, and we don't have 15,000 people over here eating cigarettes. They're all in their car, smoking up their car, which is good. Kill yourself twice, okay, with a cigarette and then breathing in your own secondhand smoke. I think that's what everybody should do. That is everybody that's in the Marlboro Club. I'm not talking about you social smokers. There's some people that only smoke when they what? Drink. What? Smoke when they what?
I thought you were going to say when you're with you.
Yeah, social smoke. Yeah, that's social. That's the social smokers. I don't fuss at them too much. It's the ones that like eat 2 or 3 cigarettes at a time or inhale 2 or 3 cigarettes in like 2 or 3 minutes. Those people stink. Okay. Convenient sample. That'd be like me calling people. That'd be like me if I was a DJ on the radio, calling people and say, "Call in if you're listening to the station." Okay, that would be ridiculous because people not listening in would not call in because they don't know to call in. Stratified. That's when you take a population and divide it into 2 groups. Male, female. Black, white. Black, white, other. Whatever, okay? You could. Have you ever filled out an application and it have Caucasian? What are the different? I didn't fill one out a long time.
Afro-American, Pacific Islander.
Mud.
Yeah, mud.
I'm a mud.
That was step 1.
Yeah.
All right. That's stratified. You're breaking up the population into what? Groups. Stratified. Cluster sampling. That's when inside a group you have a subgroup. Now, this is confusing to some people. But what if I tell you I break y'all up into Democrats and Republicans? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I break y'all up into 2 groups, that the 2 groups are going to break up into 2 more groups. The more conservative Republicans and the more moderate Republicans, the more conservative Democrats and the left-wing liberals. The left-wing liberals and the right-wing nut jobs, they're going to be in the 10%. Mostly everybody falls where? In the center. Mostly, as far as political goes. But I divided you up into 2 groups, and you ended up dividing yourself into what? 2 more groups. That is called clustering. Okay? Now, the only thing I'm going to test you on, if I do test you, in other words, what I do is usually all these definitions I put into like 1 or 2 questions. Let me show you how I do that. I'm just going to show it to you on the board over there. Is there a marker over there? No, they steal the markers. And this, I'll show you this again when we get ready for the test. But all these definitions that you see, like number 1, number 2 questions out of 20, I'm going to have like 15 questions over here with definitions to pull from this one question. And I'm going to have like 10 definitions here to pull from this question. Now, this may be number 7 for you and number 13 for you. Doesn't matter, but it's going to pull from 25 questions, which all be definitions. Like the definitions. How many definitions have we gone over since the first day? Just count, just roughly. Since the first day, just roughly count.
13.
About 13? So you're probably talking about 20 or 25 questions that are going to be in these 2 questions. So in other words, Miss White, right? Miss White, she may have number 7, and it may be this one right here that talks about discrete. And then her number 2 may be, or number 13 may be, she may pull this question, which is about random sampling. All right? She's sitting right beside Miss Cochran, who is down in the lab. And her number 2, Miss Cochran's number 2, it talks about a simple random sample. And number 18 on hers talks about, she pulls one about qualitative data, qualitative or quantitative. You see how it works? So all these definitions that we're going to go over is pretty much going to cover 2 questions on the test. Pretty much 2 or 3 questions. And it's going to pull from those 25. We've already gone over 13, so we still got some more to go. That's how I do definitions. I don't spend 80% of the test on definitions. 80% of your test is going to come from chapter 3. So, all right, so let's move on. And there's some more definitions of the same thing. You can do the graphic or you can do the whichever. Huh? Probably. Write down these 3. These 3 definitions right here. Makes it 16. Cross-sectional, retro, and perspective. Retro and perspective is pretty much self-explanatory. Why? What's retro? Y'all know what retro is. Go back. Go back in time. Throwback Thursday. All right? Everybody knows what retro is. Retro country. Crap they're playing today. I don't know what they call it. Alternative country. I don't listen to it. There's only 2 types of music I don't listen to. One is violent, crazy, grab your woman by the hair, kill a cop rap. I don't listen to that. All right? Or new country. I don't listen to new country. And pretty much, I don't listen to anything after Brad Paisley. Anything after Brad Paisley, I don't listen to because it's crap. Brad Paisley at least writes and plays his own music. The other people after Brad Paisley, they suck. I'm sorry if you like them, that's good. But
I feel like you're a Johnny Cash type.
oh well, no, I'm more of a Hank Williams Jr., Leonard Skinner, Eagles type guy. Southern Fried. Southern Fried, that's chicken, isn't it? No, it's not. It's your parents' fault. All right, retro is back in the day. In other words, if you go and do a study of murders back in 1960s, then that's retro. Murders in South Carolina during the years of 1960 to 1969. Then that would be retro. Perspective would be predicting, and that goes more into probability statistics, but it's where you go forward in time and in groups sharing common factors such as Marlboro Club and not Marlboro Club. Okay? And then there is the cross-sectional, which are at one point in time. Just remember, one point in time. Most of the time, that means present. Again, these are just definitions, so make sure you know them. People say, why don't you just say smokers? There are some words that I don't like to use, and that's one of them. You ever have a word you don't like to say? Everybody has one. Okay? I asked one class one time, and a girl said, I hate the word lover. I said, oh my God. She's going to have a hard time with a relationship. She cannot stand the word lover. And then one girl said, I love the word. Then I was like, dang, drop the F-bomb right in front of everybody. So, some people just don't like, name a word you don't like to say. That's a caveman thing. Huh?
Now.
Math. Ha ha ha. Name a word. What? Protein. You hate to say the word protein?
That's a weird word.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Hannah and Westside are going through some changes right now. Okay? Hannah and Westside are going through some changes. Now, I can't tell you much about Hannah's new guy, but I can tell you a lot about Westside's. And I'm going to tell you, if anybody could take Eddie Adair's position, that'd be Corey. He's a good one. I don't know how many in here are from Westside, how many from Westside. I grew up with him. He grew up right across the creek from me. I went to school with him. He's a good guy.
Who is it?
Corey Roberts.
KG Day.
And he comes from,
You said that's KG's name?
yeah, that's KG's dad.
I didn't know that.
And his family is well known in Anderson. I mean, Coach Roberts was a legend at West. Who's the principal at Hannah now?
Sheila, what?
Oh, let me get started.
Did anybody understand that?
No.
Thank you. All right. Who's the principal? Who? Oh my gosh.
It's an old way. She's been up for a minute.
She's been there for, I mean, she was there when I student taught there back in '94.
Somebody get out?
She was assistant principal. Huh?
She needs to be going for real. She's awful.
She's nice to be gone for real. She's like awful. I love that quote. It's like awful. But anyway, I think Westside, personally, I think Westside got the better end of the deal. Sorry. Sorry, Hannah.
Yeah, there's no deal. I didn't get anything.
No, y'all got a new principal, just like, or y'all got a new coach.
Yeah,
Who's y'all's coach?
Coach Ollis. They're
He's
from
awesome.
Polk County.
From where?
Polk County. They're from North Carolina.
He's section. Answer.
No. It's from a number I don't know, and it could be one of y'all acting stupid.
Oh, man. That's what.
All right, so let's finish up. 28. That's self-explanatory. I'm on 29 right now. Don't see anything interesting there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Okay, so let's move on to chapter 2. What page is chapter 2 on? 43. Is that definition? All right, write these down. Page 44. Center. Unit circle. Variation. Distribution, outliers. I'm not worried about time. Everybody knows what time is. Write those first 4 down. In statistics, the most important thing is how close you are to the what? Center. And that tells you everything. So that is one of the most important things in statistics, is where the center is. And you can find it several different ways. The mean or the median. I don't say the mode because the mode doesn't help. Mid-range, that can help you also. We'll get up to all that. Variation. Variation, the best way to explain variation is a straight line versus a sine curve. A straight line goes like this. A sine curve goes like this. Variation is going up and down, up and down, up and down. So if you've got a survey or if you've got data and it's going all over the place, then you have a lot of what? Variation. If you have a survey, and your survey is the population of Tri-County Tech human or reptile? Then it will be what? It will be a straight line, because mostly everybody that's against Tri-County is, human. All right? So there's no variation there. Now sometimes you will have a survey, or you will have a experiment, and it will come out with a flat line, but usually not normal. Usually you will have variation. Let me ask you this: have any of you in physics, I don't know if you've had physics, have you ever made a rat trap car? Okay, do we know what a rat trap is?
Yes.
One of those things that crushes the neck? Okay. Yes. Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, you take the energy that the spring makes and you transfer it into the wheels of a car, the wheels that you put into the bottom of the race of the rat trap, and you make a little car out of it. And it's called energy transference. Anyway, you take that car and you put it down and you run it 10 or 15 times in your physics lab, and you graph the data. And usually there's some variation. Why? Because the spring is a spring. It's a 15-cent, 10-cent spring. Is it as accurate as some of the NASCAR instruments? No. It's a 15-cent spring. So sometimes when you pull the spring back, it's going to give you more energy, or sometimes you pull it back, it's going to give you less energy. What about the wheels on your car? The wheels on your rat trap car, are they greased with greased bearings, or is it just a piece of plastic with a nail? It's a piece of plastic with a nail. So there's a lot of what there? Friction. So that's going to play into the effect. So your variation is going to be like this, versus all bearings, grease, a spring that has been tested to put out 15 pounds of pressure no matter what. Then you would have less variation between your data points. And that's what the variation is. Distribution. Distribution is where you fall in line of center. In other words, if the center, if the average of the class is 80 on a test, then where you fall is distribution to that 80. What's the most common distribution in statistics? Call it. Starts with an N. O. R. Normal. Or as my daughter would say back when she was 3 years old, normal distribution. Normal distribution. And that is called the Bell what? The Bell curve. Where the average is the middle, the center. And then where you fall is in respect to that average. Outliers. That's your 6-foot second graders. Or your 1800 SATers in the 3rd grade. Okay? That's your gifted people. That's your people that are way out there. It also can be negative. The 300-pound first grader. Okay? Okay? Yeah, right. A first grader, you need to be talking to the mama, because evidently she's on testosterone and talking like this. Frequency distributions. Now, this is where we get into the high society of probability. A frequency distribution. If I asked you what a frequency distribution is, half of you would go, ooh. But if I asked you what a chart is, you would go, oh yeah, I know what a chart is. A frequency distribution is nothing but a chart. All right? Here is a frequency distribution. Blondes, brunettes, redheads. 5, 23. This is a frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is nothing but a head count and a class. What's my classes? Blondes, brunettes, redheads. What's my head count? 5, 20, and 3. That is a frequency distribution. Do not let the word frequency distribution make you go, oh God, that sounds complicated. All it is a chart with a class and a head count. Class and head count. Simple as that. A frequency distribution or frequency table shows how data are partitioned among several categories by listing the categories along with the number of data values of each of them. Hold your pinky up when you do that definition. All right, write these down. Well, you don't have to write them down. I mean, you just write down the terms, and they're on page 45. So you don't have to write them down in your notebook. You can just highlight them or reference them page number. But do write down the names. You don't have to write down the definition. This is a test question. Lower class limit, upper class limit. That's real. I'm going to write down an example here in just a minute. I'm going to show you everything on all this. Another reason I don't want you to write the definitions, because the definitions will what? Confuse you. How many of you have had probability before? Raise your hands. Okay. Y'all remember this stuff?
Actually, I don't remember you.
Okay.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
We all know this stuff.
Lower class limit, upper class limit, class boundary, class midpoint, class width. The most, no yawning in class or stretching. The most important is this guy, class width. That's your second one. Third one I'm going to read out. You'll need to bring some Code Reds in here, some Mountain Dews. Smart water just ain't going to do it.
Hey, feel free.
No, just put some caffeine in that food. All right. Everybody got them written down? All right, here we go. I'm going to make up, no I'm not, I'm going to just pull this down. Right here. Write this table down. No, go to the next page of your notes and write this table down. Because we're going to do everything using this table, and that way you'll have it for your homework. Security! Y'all need to get on YouTube. Who's Bond Quickly?
I think we need to.
No, she working at
Kingbird.
You
Kingbird.
Hey,
We get your order, but don't get crazy. I love that.
Man, that's like 6th grade.
I know, she's still funny.
know.
I mean, come on. Look at the comedians today. I mean,
I ain't thinking
Man.
there's some that are not funny.
Kevin Hart.
Who's that?
Exactly. Exactly. No, I'm trying to
Do you know what people think are funny today? Guys, You know what? You know why? You know what? You know what people think are funny today? People that get on these movies and they're either drunk, stupid, or they fall in trash cans, and that's funny.
That ain't funny, you look stupid.
Thank you. Do you and I agree on one thing? That's it. I cannot stand these movies with these guys in it that they either can't find their car, or they go out and get drunk and can't find their way home, or I don't watch them.
None of that's Kevin Hart.
Well, I'll have to look up Kevin Hart, and I will let you know if I think he's funny, and you can sleep better at night.
If he wasn't short, he wouldn't be funny.
Huh?
The stuff he says is funny, it's just that he's little.
That is.
Is that what it is?
That's the most false statement ever.
Now, I'll tell you someone, in my opinion,
You ever heard about
and this is retro, but Eddie Murphy is funny. I don't care. Chris Rock is funny.
Kevin
All right.
Hart is funny.
I don't even know who he is.
You need to. We need to
I'm
stop
going
class
to.
and look at
All right, now is he all nasty?
I mean, he cusses, but it's not nasty.
I'll find one and we'll watch it. Now I'll tell you somebody that's funny, and that's Ron White. Ron White's funny.
Now let's look at Rose.
You'll have to Google it.
You a regular size.
I don't know who that was. That's funny. I hope it wasn't my boss. Hold on. No, it wasn't. I don't know who it was. Yes, ma'am. No, you cannot go to the bathroom. No, go ahead. You don't have to ask. Go ahead. All right. All right. What is the class width? Well, there's two ways to find the class width. Class width, you can find it by the lower class limit. I mean, the upper class limit. Well, no. Let me go. Let me do it this way. I don't want to be confusing. Subtract the lower class limits, or upper class limits. That's the easiest way to find it. Now, what is the lower class limits and upper class limits? Here are the lower class limits. And here are your upper class limits. That's why I tell you not to write down the definitions, because there's no reason to. If you have a frequency distribution and you have classes that are numbers, then you've got to have a lower class limit and an upper class limit. Now somebody tell me what 70 minus 50 is. 70 minus 50 is 20. And that is your class what? Class width. That same person's called. 70 minus 50 is 20. And your class width is 20. Now that is the most important number. The reason that is the most important number is you can find all your other things just using the class limit. So, we have found I'm trying. Not going to work. What? Is it time? How much time we got left? 10 minutes. What's your question? Huh?
Where'd you get 70 from? I got a different chart.
Right here. Oh, you got a different chart?
Yes, sir.
Take, what's your first class? Right here.
21 to 30.
And what's this one?
31 to 40.
All right, subtract the 2 right here or the 2 right here. Subtract them. What do you get?
10.
Okay, your class width is 10. You subtract the lower class limits or the upper class limits, take the absolute value. Now some of you might go, what did that phone say?
Something has arrived.
50 minus 70. What's 50 minus 70? Negative 20, take the absolute value, 20. You still get 20. Take 69 minus 9, 89. 89 minus 69. 129 minus 109. 149 minus 129. You get 20. So your class width is 20. So let me go back to the definitions. We have lower class limit, upper class limit, and class width. Lower class limit, upper class limit, and class width. They're done. Now we just have to find the midpoints. Now the midpoints are very easy. Find the first one. Take your first one, and that's 50 plus 69, midpoint, or mid whatever it's called, is equal to 60 plus 59. That's your two classes right here, your upper class limit and your lower class limit.
It's 50 and 69.
50 and 69, thank you. I'm dyslexic this morning. 50 and 69. 50 plus 69 divided by 2. And 50 plus 70 is what? 120 divided by 2 is 60, so that'd be 59.5. Y'all check me.
You're right.
Of course I am. 59.5. Yes, sir.
So since my first one is 21 and 30, I would put 20.
And divide by 2. And that would be your midpoint. Now the easy part. You don't have to do that for each section. You just have to add your class width to it. So if I want my midpoints for all these classes, I just take 59.5 and add what? 20, and that would be 79.5, 99.5, 109.5, and 129.5. Simple as that. So my midpoints are going to be 79.5, 99.5, 109.5, or 119.5, add 20, be 119.5. Y'all check me on that. 10 would be 9,
You're right. That's right.
and then 139.5. So what is your class width?
20.
No. 10. And what was your first midpoint?
25.5.
So it'd be 35.5, 45.5, 55.5, 65.5. Simple as that. So that takes care of your midpoint. Midpoint is very important for Unit 2. No. Midpoint is very important for you to find as your first yawn. I think it's your second one. All right. The third, okay, well, I'm going to have to call security. The midpoint is very important for this big monstrosity of a formula that we're going to be doing next week. All right. It's not a complicated formula, but you're going to have to find the midpoint. So mark midpoint. You need to highlight midpoint as important for next week, and class width is important for this homework right here. Okay, how much more minutes have I got? Is it over? Okay. All right, now let me go over class boundary. Now this is very important. Class boundary. If you have whole numbers in your chart, your frequency distribution. If you have whole numbers, you're going to go to the tenths. If you have tenths, you're going to go to your hundredths. If you have hundredths, you're going to go to the what? Thousands. Usually, these are the only two I give. All right, now let's look back at the chart that we just did. What are these?
Tenths.
They're whole numbers. 50 to 69, those are whole numbers. So we're going to use tenths for our class boundaries. And when you use tenths, you use 0.5. Okay? So what's before 50? What's before 50? 0.5. 49.5, then add your class width. 49.5 plus 20, 69.5. 69.5 goes here. 69.5 plus 20, 89.5. Or you could just say 89.5, 89.5, 109.5, 109.5, 129.5, 129.5, 149.5. That's your class boundaries. It's a piece of cake. Now, what if I had 50.1 here? Well, if I had 50.1, then you would go 49.95. Then we'll get into that when we do some of your homework problems. Okay? And we'll do that in time, probably next week. All right, so you up to, what section is this? Look in your book. 2.2. 2.2. I ain't called the roll and I ain't let y'all go yet, so I don't know why y'all are all acting like y'all leaving. All right. Faculty attendance tracker. Oh, let me turn this off. Well, no, I don't want to turn it off yet. What are y'all?
29.
29. Okay, Ali is here. Bourgeois? You're bourgeois, right? I'm learning. Brewer? Where are you? Okay. Brown? Burris? Copeland? Cothran? Frazier? Gates? Gear? Glenn? Hanks? Jones? Jones? Hello, Jones. Jones. Massey is here. McCollum? McElhannon? McGuffin? Loser. Nix? Hart? Slice? Spencer? Towns? Whaley? White? 2 Williams? I love doing that. Young? All right, I got one class that's got like 4 people named Smith or something, and I say, okay, they go, here. It's real cute. All right, so, what section is this?
2.2.
All right, so you're responsible for all your homework from 1.1 up to 2.2. Now, not all of 2.2, but just up to this class boundary stuff.
Can you get over some county and the access code?
Can I do what?
Right, can you go by the rule and the access code from
Yes, you can. Or you can get the access code online.
Cheaper.
What's your question?
Just getting the access code online. And then you don't
Is
need
that
to
what you did? That was you did?
That's what I did.
1.2 up to,
2.2.
thank you. That's what you're responsible for, but not all of 2.2. Do you come to class Monday?
No.
No, so don't be coming up here looking all stupid.
Hey, you gotta watch Cat Mark.
Oh, God.
If you just like type it.
Yeah, y'all get out of here.
Oh my God.
I'm glad y'all got to see me.
I'm glad I got to see you.
I wake up this morning.
I have to tell.
And just say, thank you.
Miss Youngster.
I go on every day. It's just gonna happen.
I know. I'm so boring.
No, you're not.
Okay, I don't have to put smokestacks on my truck now.